person, he might not be in prison. If Frank had told me about his shoplifting problem, I might have been able to help him. In these sentences, might refers to possibility. So in the first sentence, might go means maybe he will go. And in the second sentence, might not be means maybe he would not be. And in the third sentence, might have been able to means maybe he would have been able to. And let's finish with a look at should. So, first sentence was should. If the prisoner should call, tell him I will speak with his lawyer tomorrow. If there should be another prison riot, the safety of the guards would be in jeopardy. So in these two sentences, should call and should be indicate a degree of uncertainty or some doubt. Well, let's practice might, could, and should. Okay, so Lewis, what could you do if you were a prisoner?
I couldn't do anything if I were a prisoner. I could sit in my cell. I could read books maybe.
You're right. And Monica?
If I were a prisoner, I might kill myself. If my father had been a prisoner, I would have been very embarrassed.
I'm sure you would have been very embarrassed. And Rosa?
I don't want to think about it. If a warden or prisoner should call my house, I would scream.
I'm sure you would. Thank you very much, everybody. And now, it might be a good idea if you look and listen. Look and listen. I could carry a gun if I were a prison guard. If the police could have found some evidence, they'd have convicted Gary. If the arsonist isn't caught, I might move to a different state. If you were a better pickpocket, you might get rich. Read and repeat. Review. Here's one last thing we should look at before we do some exercises. First sentence, have a look at these sentences on your TV screen. Should the prisoner call, please take a message. Had I known, I would have called the jail. Were I you, I wouldn't steal that. So sometimes when we have were, had, past perfect, or should, if isn't used. And in these situations, the subject and the verb are reversed or inverted. Well, now it's time for some exercises. Let's do an exercise using the first conditional. Lewis, you are a warden. And I want you to give us 3 sentences using the first conditional. Monica, you're an arsonist. Rosa, you are a prisoner. Okay, what are your sentences, Luis?
If I like the prisoner, I will not put him in solitary confinement. If I don't like the prisoner, he won't get a TV in his room. The new TV room will be used today if the prisoners are good.
Good sentences, Lewis. Okay, Monica, what are your sentences?
If I burn that building, I will be caught. I will start the fire in the basement if there are people inside. If it's a good fire, I will stay and watch it. I'm sorry, but I don't like being arsonist.
I'm sorry about that. Good sentences, though. And Rosa, how about your sentences?
If I don't want to go to solitary confinement, it will be good. I will escape if I have the chance. If I find that knife, I'll make a hole in the wall.
Excellent work, everybody. So now, let's try an exercise with the second conditional. This can be a fill-in-the-blanks exercise with the appropriate verb in the second conditional. Rosa, you can go first. If the pickpocket something enough time, comma, he something 5 wallets. If the pickpocket something enough time, he something 5 wallets. What do you think?
2 verbs. That's difficult. If the pickpocket had enough time, he would steal 5 wallets.
Good. If the pickpocket had enough time, he would steal 5 wallets. Okay. Monica, here's one for you. The prisoner something to his parents if the guard something him a pen. The prisoner something to his parents if the guard something him a pen.
The prisoner would write to his parents if the guard gave him a pen.
Good, if the guard gave. The prisoner would write to his parents if the guard gave him a pen. And Luis, the last one for you. If the shoplifter something a larger coat, comma, he something to hide more things. If the shoplifter something a larger coat, he something to hide more things. What's the answer, do you think?
If the shoplifter wore a larger coat, he would be able to hide more things.
Good. He would be able to hide more things. If the shoplifter wore a larger coat, he would be able to hide more things. Thank you. And now let's do an exercise using the third conditional. This time I'll give you the verbs and you fill in the blanks with the appropriate tense. Lewis, you go first this time. Let's just make some space on the board. What's the first one? It is if the arsonist, and we have the verb have, more gasoline, he, and the verb is set, more fires. What do you think, Lewis?
If the arsonist had more gasoline, he would have set more fires.
Good. If the arsonist had more gasoline, he would have set more fires. Excellent. Okay. Rosa, this one's for you. Caught, and the verb is start, on time, if the prisoner something, and the verb is be, so unruly. Okay, what do you think the answer is, Rosa?
Court would have started on time if the prisoner hadn't been so unruly.
Good. Bean. Court would have started on time if the prisoner hadn't been so unruly. Okay, the last one's for you, Monica. If the police something, the verb is find, some evidence, comma, the woman, and the verb is not release, from jail. What do you think it is, Monica?
If the police had found some evidence, the woman wouldn't have been released from jail.
Good. Release, we'll put it up there. If the police had found some evidence, the woman wouldn't have been released from jail. Okay, that's excellent work. Thank you all. Now, one more quick exercise. This time, let's fill in the blanks again with an appropriate verb. Okay, Monica, I want you to use could in your sentence. Lewis, can you please use might?
Yes.
And Rosa, I want you to use should. Okay, Monica, here's your sentence. If Tom were a policeman, he, something, a gun. Okay, what do you think, Monica?
If Tom were a policeman, he could carry a gun.
Okay, good. If Tom were a policeman, he could carry a gun. Good work. Rosa, here's yours. If the prisoner, something, comma, shoot him. Very dramatic.
If the prisoner should escape, shoot him.
Okay. If the prisoner should escape, shoot him. And the last one for you, Lewis. If Kevin had told me about his problem, comma, he, something, in prison today. What do you think, Lewis?
If Kevin had told me about his problem, he might not be in prison today.
Good. If Kevin had told me about his problem, he might not be in prison today. Good job, everyone. And now it's time to listen and write. Listen and write. Listen and write these sentences. Number 1. The prisoner will work in the garden today if he isn't sick. Number 2. If the prisoner has enough time, he writes an article for the prison newspaper every week. Number 3. If Greg had enough money, he would buy things instead of shoplifting them. Number 4. Yvonne would have written to her brother in prison more often if she hadn't lost his address. Number 5. The arsonist would have been captured if the police had arrived sooner. Number 6. If Jason weren't studying right now, he would call the warden. Number 7. If the prisoner should leave, call the guard. Number 8. I might get a job in the prison if I pass the exam. Number 9. If Brian weren't a prisoner, he could move with his family to Detroit. And number 10. Had she loved Tony, he wouldn't be in jail. Well, now, check your work. Number 1.